In this video, we are going to discuss how to start a new corporate job without losing yourself. Hey, what's up? My name is Lesline. I am your favorite nurse yogi, and I'm about to start a new job. As you can see, those boxes back there, I'm actually starting my new job tomorrow, and I was like, this is the perfect time for me to give that big sister energy. For context, I am 34, and I realized that a lot of my subscribers, you guys, are between the ages of 25 to 35. So I want to talk to my younger folk and just prepare you all on the things that I don't be seeing. When I see these videos, like how to start your new job, like here's the clothes to wear, here's like my routine, which I'll show you those things in another video if you want. But in this video, I'm going to discuss like beyond the resume, beyond the outfits. I want to prepare your nervous system. Just for context, I am a registered nurse with 12 years of experience. So I've worked in the hospital, and then I am now working remotely. And before I worked remotely, I worked in a corporate setting in an office in case management. And that was a big shift because the hospital, yes, it's corporate, but it's hospital. This might sound weird, but like hospital, you wear your scrubs. Working an office setting in a corporate office, I had to wear business casual. I'm like, what? Like, I didn't understand that because as soon as I graduated high school, I went straight to hospital. Like, that's all I knew. So I had no context. I will also say this, a little background of me. My first job was Plato's Closet. So my first job was 17 years old. I worked Plato's Closet. I worked there like that between 16 up until like 8. So like 2 years I worked there right before I started nursing school. And so that job, if you don't know what Plato's Closet is, they are a reselling boutique. So when I reflect, I've truly gotten every job I've wanted, with the exception of a few, but let me drink this real quick. That job I wanted so bad because being a kid, I wanted the latest and greatest. I wanted Hollister. This ages me, right? You guys are probably like, girl, what? I wanted Hollister. I wanted Abercrombie and Fitch, that like surfer style clothing. And my mom was like, we have the Goodwill. We have the Goodwill. We have Walmart, right? And I never got the latest Nikes. I never got any of that, okay? And so I used to be so embarrassed of my clothes and my style. I remember I would save up to get baby fat shoes. Like, I remember these things. And I remember when Plato's Closet opened, I remember seeing it on TV as a commercial because this was before social media. And I remember the concept. It was so cool. It was like, buy Hollister. When I tell you now that I understand marketing, I was their avatar. I was like, oh my gosh, I can get Hollister jeans for like $30. Like, what? And so I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, you got to take me to Plato's Closet because it's a thrift store, but it's like better. And so she took me. And then I remember I was like, I want to work here. I want this to be my job. And I got the job. And I worked two to three different Plato's Closets in the Central Florida area where I live. I've lived here pretty much my whole life. And that job, you didn't have to wear business casual. You actually got to wear like the clothes in the store. And it was the perfect first job as a girl, because I got to get the clothes. So they were already discounted, but I got to get the clothes even more discounted. So that was incredible. But I say all that to say, I just wanted to give you context of like, that was where I started as my first job, then did the hospital, and then I did corporate in office, and that was a shift. But we are going to talk about the tips that I have for you. That was so long, y'all, but you're still here. I know you are. So I have actually 5 tips. Let me just double check. I have an outline so I stay on task. I have 5 tips for you today that we're really just going to focus on nervous system. How do you not burn out? Because I'm pretty sure you see that a lot. You know, I'm giving you that big sister energy. And I know I have other like big sister people in my life that, I am the big sister with me and my sister, but I have like, pseudo big sisters where they be like talking about burnout and all this stuff. And I have experienced burnout. Like, I'm currently kind of working through that a little bit at this time, if I'm going to be really honest with you all. So I'm like, I need to warn my younger folk of how not to do that. Tip 1, regulate before you perform. So you already got the job. And I don't know what it is, because I can speak about this too. I'm starting this new job tomorrow, and I'm like, did I really get it? Like, they really hired me for me? Like, is this a scam? You know what I'm saying? You already got the job. Like, breathe. You do not need to prove you deserve to be there. Okay. You do not need to prove you deserve to be there. You don't need to. Okay. If you feel like you need to prove to like yourself, like, maybe that's not the job for you, and we're going to get into that. But overperforming is a stress response, and if you look like me, that is something that unfortunately we kind of naturally do, and you have to unlearn that you do not need to overperform. You need to make sure you do the following: prioritize sleep. Wait, what? Prioritize sleep week before. Yeah, so prioritize sleeping before you start this job. Sorry, I'm like looking at them like, what is this? So this is something, yeah. So you want to prioritize sleep, right? I feel like we don't talk about this enough, especially because you're young and you're like, I'll sleep, I don't need sleep, blah, blah, blah. You need to prioritize your sleep, y'all. So if you ideally say you start the new job next week, this week I want you to focus on your sleep schedule. So I know you probably are like, I wanted to have fun and do all these things. Yes, please have fun, hang out with your friends, party, do those stuff. Like, you're young, live your life. But at the same time, I want you to take, like, have the first few days, have fun. Mind you, if you start the new job, like, say next week, at time of recording, I'll just give you context. It's February 15th, right? So say you start the job February 23rd. The 16th to the 20th, I really want you to focus on prioritizing sleep. So this means making sure, like, when 9 p.m. comes, or technically when 8 p.m. comes around, you're doing your nighttime routine. And if you're like, girl, I don't even know what you're talking about nighttime routine, because the nighttime routine I'm talking about is beyond like skincare. I'm talking about meditating, journaling, stretching, like doing these nourishing practices for your body. You need to start like training yourself to do that before you start the job. Because once you start the job, it is going to be stressful, right? I'm not going to lie and say any new job, no matter what kind of job it is going to be stressful at first because it is new, right? So you're going to prioritize your sleep. You're going to set a timer on your phone that's going to, like, how I know with my phone, with iPhone, I have it at 9 p.m. It automatically puts my phone on do not disturb. So then it minimizes every notification, with the exception of, like, if my husband, like my husband and my parents and my sister, like, those are like the only people that can come through the line after 9 p.m. So like from 9 p.m. to I think like 7 a.m., my phone is on do not disturb. So you need to start doing that from now. And then ideally, to also further this, because I know how tempting the phone can be, I'm guilty too. I want you to buy a clock, like a digital analog clock, an alarm clock. I did this in the height of the pandemic. I was going through my own thing, and I was like, I need to build routine. There is a lot of chaos happening outside. I need to build a routine. I need to have peace within my home. So I bought an alarm clock, plugged it into my nightstand, and what I do, so yes, my phone is on do not disturb, but then once I actually go to sleep, so ideally, I want you to turn off your phone like an hour before you go to sleep. Completely shut it down. Shut down your phone, put it outside of your bedroom. And then you don't have to fret because you already have an alarm clock. Because I know a lot of people, when I say that, they're like, but Leslie, like, my phone is my alarm clock, which I feel like it was such a cool concept. It really was. I'm not going to lie. Everything's in the phone. But now it's like we are so dependent that these are ways we burn ourselves out because everything is in one place. We need to compartmentalize things, right? So put the phone outside of your room. Get yourself an alarm clock. This is how you prioritize sleep. It's these things. It's not just laying in the bed. These are the things is how you do that. You also, if you're somebody that's caffeine girly, right now I'm drinking tea, but I'm going to be drinking caffeine in a little bit. I'm not even going front. It's not that you want to lower your well, Coffee is not bad. Let me say that. It's all the sugar. Like if you get your coffee from like, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, those kind of places. Again, I do that too, in moderation, right? But I don't want you going to those places 2-3 times a day. Okay. So that's one. So if you're going to those places 2 to 3 times a day, let's cut it down to 1 time a day. And with that, I want you to also drink that coffee before 3 p.m. Okay. And then every morning, I want you to practice a 5-minute grounding practice each morning. And I have all of this. I will try my best to link what I have. I have multiple yoga videos, meditations, all of this on YouTube for you. So what I'm telling you, I already have for you. I'm not having you going other places to find it. I have it all here on my platform. Okay, so that is tip 1. This is how we regulate before we perform. So just to reiterate, you are going to prioritize sleep this coming week, and we're going to get an alarm clock. We're going to turn our phone off at least an hour before we go to bed. We're also going to make sure our phone is on D&D starting at 9 p.m. So this will just give you that reminder, because ideally you do want to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I forgot to mention this. I have this Aura ring here that I bought purposely for sleep. I wanted to see how well I am sleeping, because your sleep hygiene is one of the biggest hacks to regulating hormones. I don't know if you're hearing about that lately, because I know y'all are young, but I'm hearing a lot about hormones, and I'm hearing a lot about perimenopause because I'm 34. So I'm about to go into that next age bracket, right? And a lot of the things I be hearing from my big sisters is hormones. And one way to regulate hormones is sleep, because if your hormones are not regulated, you are more at risk for burning yourself out. Hold on, guys. Stay right there. I'm recording a video. What's up? I'm almost done though. Yeah. This is real life. I have 2 little ones, and my daughter wants to know what I'm doing, and I tell them, I'm not going to stop the video. I'm showing that to you too, like how you do those, get things done, because I feel like that's something people are like, how do you, as a mom, blah, blah, blah. That's how, right? It's real life. Okay. So yeah, sleep hygiene is super important. Okay, let's get into tip 2. Decide who you are before the job tries to define you. So decide who you are before your job tries to define you. Titles are just roles. Titles help you know, okay, at the people's job, I do bloop, 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 right? But that is not your identity. That is not who you are at. Stay right there. You can't sit over here yet. Okay, hold on. Hold on, y'all. Oh, gosh. Go sit there. Okay. And if you want to come back, if you want to leave, you have to tell me. You can't run across, okay? So you got to stay there for the next, 15 minutes. All right. Okay, so my daughter's wanting to sit here, so she's right over there. So your titles are roles; they are not identities. Okay, really, really remember that we can talk about identity in a whole nother video. But what makes you is not the people's job. Is not you being an RN, BSN. Okay, it's not you being the CEO of this Fortune 500 company. It's not that. Yes, you can have a goal of at this time, I do want to climb the corporate ladder. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me tell you that, especially at your age of you being 25 to 29 years old, even 25 to 35. If you're I just want to climb this corporate ladder right now because I have some goals. I want to travel the world, or I want to do this, or I need to buy a house, right? There is nothing wrong with that. But what happens is that a lot of women, we burn ourselves out because we feel like we have something to prove, right? So just know, what is your identity? Who are you at the essence, at your core, right? And that will help prevent you from burning out. You're not your productivity level, okay? So the job that I just left, it was all about productivity. And thankfully, once I understood what I was supposed to do, I had to do 2 reviews an hour to meet the productivity. That helped. But at the same time, I did not like that at all. And my supervisor was great with the fact she's like, not every day you're not a machine. Like she would say that. So she was really good about that. But it was just like, I didn't like that. But how are they going to measure what you're doing, especially if you work from home, right? So with the identity thing, I want you to ask yourself these questions. What do I value? How do I handle conflict? Because I know this is going to sound a little problematic, but we need to stop saying everything is toxic. Like, oh, I left a toxic work environment. The reason the environment, and I'm not going to discredit, maybe you were in a toxic work environment, right? But you need to ask yourself these questions before you get into the environment, because nobody can read your mind, right? Nobody can read your mind. So if your supervisor is coming at you cash crazy in your perspective, you need to open your mouth professionally, right? And you just say, hey, can we have a conversation like offline or whatever, depending on how you're working, right? So if you're working in office, if your supervisor says something to you that you did not like, right? You, at the end of the meeting, you don't do it during the meeting. At the end of the meeting, you go up to your supervisor and you say, hey, I'd like to discuss something with you. Like, can I get on your calendar sometime before the day is over? Or if not, first thing tomorrow, and then you discuss at that time. You nip things in the bud, right? And if you have a supportive supervisor, they will not take what you say to offense. Because that then is toxic. Because if they're like, why are you saying that to me? They didn't get the proper training as a leader, right? So you have to know, though, how do you handle conflict outside of work? Like, even in friendships, even with your family, like, are you conflict avoidant? So this is also for me, right? So what kind of coworker are you? Like, are you a coworker that everybody wants to come to you and ask for help? That's not good either, right? But are you somebody that is a pleasure to work with? I will say, leaving this job that I was at for 8 years, my supervisor was like, man, like, we're going to miss you. And she was like, I'm going to miss you. And she also would say that I took feedback very well. That is another tip within this, is you want to be somebody that takes, when your supervisor tells you, hey, you're underperforming, right? Obviously, if you have something going on at home, like, something happened at your house, say you had a death or something like that in your family, I suggest, you don't need to tell your supervisor all your business, but if you had something like that happen, you'd be like, hey, like, the reason that I'm underperforming at this time is because I had a death. Or you don't even have to say that. Like, you just be like, I just am going through something right now, and so that's why I'm underperforming at this time. Is there any way I could work something out where I can blah, blah, blah? I don't know your job, but you get what I'm saying? Like, have an open dialogue, have open communication. Don't tell your whole life, but have open communication, and you'll be surprised. If you have a supervisor that is a good leader, they will be like, yes, whatever you need. How can I support you to be your best at this current time you're in? What am I unwilling to compromise? That's a good one. What are you unwilling to compromise? So what do you value? How do you handle conflict? What kind of coworker are you? And what am I unwilling to compromise? So this just helps you define who you are before you start the job, because when you know who you are, it will prevent you from burning yourself out. Tip 3, pre-plan your boundaries. Burnout does not start at month 6. Burnout does not start halfway through the year. It starts week 1. It starts right now. So ideally, I am catching you like the week before you start your job, or maybe you just heard you got the job. Congratulations. I want to catch you now, because the burnout will happen now. You will run yourself ragged if you do not do these tips I'm giving you. So you need to ask yourself these things. What time are you clocking out, or what time are you logging off of the people's computer? I work remotely, so this is something I have to be very regimented about because I can stay on this computer and then go to my business and never get up like for hours upon hours. So you have to tell yourself, what time am I going to log off? And again, set an alarm on, like at this time, you can set an alarm on your phone. This time your phone is near you, okay? Just having that clear boundary, right? So if you work 8 to 5, you need to structure your day. So that's something else too. Structure your day, especially if you work from home. Like, okay, from 8 to 10, I'm going to do 2 hours of work. And then from 10 to this time, I'm going to do this. From 12 to 1, I'm going to have lunch. Like you need to just, from 1 to 2, I'm going to do that. From 3 to 4, I'm going to, take a short walk. Again, you have this open communication though. You don't just be going away from keyboard and not talking to your supervisor. I don't want you to get in trouble. And then 5 p.m., the alarm goes off, I clock out. And making sure, though, you did your 8 hours of full work, though, right? But having a time, you don't just be like, well, I have, the day just got away from me. The day gets away from you because you did not plan. Are you answering emails after hours? Do not do that. Do not answer emails after hours, especially if it is your corporate job. Do not answer emails after hours. They can wait. How many extra tasks? Ooh, we are at 10% on my battery, but we have about 9 more minutes of this video. How many extra tasks will you say yes to? So that's something at this job I just left. There would be things they would want us to do extra. I didn't do it. I was like, because it was not extra pay. If you're going to pay me more, I'll consider. But if it's like, hey, can you be the person that pulls this report every morning? That's not in my job description. And I'm just trying to get by with getting my productivity in. That you said I need to do, right? So, if you're like, I'll do this one extra task because it'll help build my resume for the next job. Yes, but don't continue to add. Like keep tabs on what extras you are saying yes to. And I want to be clear. The extras that you do say yes to, make sure they are adding value to your career, okay? All right. You can be excellent without being available 24/7, okay? You can be excellent without being available 24/7. Boundaries are nervous system protection. Okay, you need to have clear boundaries at your job. You have to. Consistency is more sustainable than intensity. Consistency is more sustainable than intensity. So you don't always have to be the hero every single day at the people's job. All right, 2 more tips. Okay, so expect the 90-day dip. And typically, this is interesting. About 90 days, they do that 90-day review. That's when your benefits kick in, right? All those things. So around month 2 to 3, you might notice you're becoming more fatigued. Maybe you have doubt. Maybe you have imposter syndrome, or you're becoming irritable. The irritability and the fatigue can be signs of burnout. So you also need to give yourself more grace. And sorry, I'm just like, because she just be like getting up and I'm like, I don't like to have my kids like on the camera. So let me say this. Okay. Learning new systems can be stressful. So learning this new job, this new environment can be stressful. So just give yourself more grace. So around that 90-day period, though, notice you might feel more fatigue, you might feel more irritable, and just reflect and ask yourself these questions. Am I failing or am I adjusting, right? And I'm pretty sure you're adjusting. I'm pretty sure you're not failing. Discomfort does not mean misalignment. Oh, wait, that's for me. Let me drink some of this real quick. Discomfort does not mean misalignment. I feel like a lot of us, we be in echo chambers. And sometimes just because something, obviously, if it's causing you harm, please leave. But if it's causing you a little bit of discomfort, like you're like, I don't know how to do this Excel sheet. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to quit. No, like you need Excel. You need to learn Excel, okay? So if that means you speak up. Again, it's just all about having open communication. Ask your supervisor, like, hey, I'm really struggling learning Excel. Are there any courses I could take like in the portal to help me learn Excel better? All right, last tip. build a life that exists outside your job. So have hobbies. Have hobbies. And this is something that I have to tell myself too, because with burnout, like I was so focused these past 5 years. I also have my own business. So it can be challenging when you have a corporate job and you're building a business, and I'm also a mom and I'm a wife, right? I have multiple roles. So I realized that I don't have anything, and that's why I've been reading. You want to get up? Okay, hold on. All right, get up. All right. So like that's why I've been reading. That's the hobby I've been doing. I'm considering doing embroidery at my local library. So like these are things that I'm wanting to do just outside of me being a business owner, outside of me being an employee. So figure out what is your thing, but don't force it. Okay, let it come natural. So yeah, keep one hobby, keep one relationship not connected to work. So outside of, maybe you got a boo thing, that's cute and all, but outside, like obviously work besties, oh my gosh, I don't know where I'd be without my work besties. And I've actually become real life friends with them. But I want you to like have a friend outside of your job. So no boyfriend or girl, like I'm not talking about your boyfriend or girlfriend. I am talking about a friend outside of the job. So maybe a friend you had from college. Like important to really nurture that relationship so that it's not connected to your job. Okay. That is so good for your mental, physical, emotional health. Oh yeah. So then keep one day where work isn't the topic. So I don't know how your schedule it is, but say it's Monday to Friday. Saturdays is the day where you just, you have so much fun. Maybe you party, you do what you want to do that day. So the reminder here is this job is a chapter. It's not the whole book. Because if you think about your life as a book, right? This is just one chapter in hundreds and hundreds of chapters, right? This job is not your identity. It is not your worth, okay? Your whole life cannot exist inside this job. It can't. So I'm going to close with this. You don't prepare for a new job by becoming harder. You prepare by becoming more regulated. You prepare by knowing who you are outside of the job. And you prepare by protecting your energy early. And how do we protect our energy early? We create boundaries. How do we create boundaries? We ask ourselves those questions I talked about beginning of the video, right? So you're allowed to grow without losing yourself. This new job is you growing, right? On to better. If this resonated, stay. I am doing 100 days of YouTube, and I believe this is day 11. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with another girly pop friend that you have. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 12. Bye.